I wrote a note to my valedictorian that made her leave school with no consequences. When I was in high school, there was a girl at the top of our class. We'll call her Mai. Mai was known for being very quiet and timid, anxious and antisocial. She had long, bushy hair that reached pretty much her backside, and she always brought a messy stack of books and papers to each class, despite not needing them for anything. Everyone felt bad for her. She was seemingly incredibly intelligent, but crippled by anxiety. But one day in a class we shared, I realized she was writing answers for a test on the desk and covering them with her hair. If you write on a desk in pencil, it can be easily wiped away with your hand, and that's exactly what she did after the exam. She was a cheater. I talked to another kid in our class, James, and he said, "Oh yeah, Mai always cheats. Every one of the students pretty much know that." She would apparently even write answers on the strewn paper in her desk pile. Nobody wanted to get someone like Mai in trouble, but frankly, as someone just outside the top 5 of my class, it made me livid that Mai could just cheat blatantly with everyone letting it slide, all the way into the valedictorian position. That makes a major difference for scholarships and everything, and we came from a pretty poor area. She was also an officer in the National Honor Society, and while I know that means nothing now, at the time I thought, wow, she has no honor. This is ridiculous. One day in math class, me and my friend Kevin shared with Mai that we had a substitute teacher who didn't really care how we spent the class period. So I wrote in a careful, bubbly print that was nothing like my typical handwriting a note to Mai, basically saying, "Hey, everyone knows you cheat, and if you don't knock it off, we'll be forced to tell the National Honor Society what you did." I don't think I really would have done anything with the note. Of course, the fact that I wrote it in different handwriting says differently. But Kevin was joking that he would give the note to Mai, and I was joking back. But to my shock, he did give it to Mai, but sneakily put it to the side of her messy desk. She noticed it eventually and must have read it. We had lunch next, and Mai was sobbing, literally losing it at her lunch table. The friends she sat with all encouraged her to go to the office about whatever happened, and she eventually did. I started to freak out because I never thought she'd react like that, and I was someone who never got in trouble. My mother would kill me if I did, so I was terrified of getting called up. I just wanted Mai to stop cheating. Towards the end of my next class, it happened. My science teacher said I was called to the office and I felt my soul leave my body. I went up and walked into the principal's office. Imagine my shock when he wanted to talk about something completely different. He heard from my ex's new girlfriend that I was going to beat her up, which was wildly untrue. We both laughed about it and he said he didn't think that was true but had to check. Then he just asked casually, "Before you go, do you have any idea what happened in your math class earlier?" I simply said no idea and tried to be convincing. He said okay and I walked back to class. Later that day, I realized some of Mai's lunch table group seemed angry with me. Mai had gone home early, but her friends seemed ready to fight me based on the looks I was being given. I was so anxious that they knew I had written the note. At the very end of the day, I walked into the office and asked the vice principal if I could speak with the principal. He said the principal had already left for the day. I straight up said, "I wrote the note to Mai. It was me. I lied to the principal earlier." My VP just said, "Okay, I'll tell him tomorrow." And that was the last I ever heard of the situation. I never got into trouble. Mai never returned to regular classes. She was removed from the school's ranking, although I recall her attending graduation and getting a diploma. Her mother was a teacher in our school system, so maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? I graduated within the top 5 and it absolutely helped me get better scholarships.
Am I the arsehole for cancelling a trip because my husband's ex and her new baby are coming along? Story time. So I have been with Steve for 2.5 years now, and we got engaged 6 months ago. Steve has been divorced for over 5 years now. He was married to this woman called Amy. Steve and Amy have a son, who we will call Dave. And then Amy has another little baby who we will call Lucy, and she had this baby with the guy she met after Steve. Dave is 8 and Lucy is 2. We absolutely adore Dave. He has his room in our house, and he is genuinely so loved by all of us. Steve and Amy are very, very good friends, and they're really, really good at co-parenting together. The only problem I have with their relationship is that she is everywhere. Besides holidays and birthdays, which is like absolutely fair enough, Amy and the baby Lucy are invited to everything. I'm talking Steve's birthday party, Steve's parents' birthday parties, Steve's parents' anniversaries, my birthday party. Steve invited his ex-wife to my birthday. She's come along on our family holidays, our camping trips. I have spoken to Steve about this many, many times, but he thinks I am being insecure about nothing. So I booked a trip for the end of January to go with me, Steve and Dave, baby Dave. Of course, Steve had to tell Amy that we would be having Dave for like the last week for an extra week of January since he's coming with us to Mexico. And Amy was asking all of these questions about dates that we're going, the price of things, where we're staying. And then I found out on Facebook that she was posting about swimsuit shopping for her later trip that month. So Steve texted her and was like, hey, are you going somewhere as well? And that was when she told Steve that she had researched their hotel we were staying at and she'd found a really, really good deal for the same week that we're going. She was like, I guess we'll see you there, hee hee. I was like, listen, babes, Steve, we're cancelling this trip. We're not doing this. Steve was like, we can't because the tickets are non-refundable. And I really don't want to go. I said I wanted a family vacation without the ex and the ex's baby. Steve was like, there is nothing we can do about this now. We need to address this for future plans, not now. He said it's just something in the future that we need to make sure our boundaries are set on. What do I do?
My 33 female, husband 35 male, played a fart prank on me at our wedding, leaving me absolutely humiliated. How do I recover from this? I knew it was coming. Yes, I have been hounding him to propose to me after 6 years of being together, and it looked like we were finally going to take a step forward in our relationship. Until our wedding day, and I haven't since stopped being upset and crying my eyes out. The day I was supposed to feel my most beautiful, I may have looked like a disgusting pig. After the wedding vows were done, we were escorted at the stage where there was a love seat. My husband asked me to sit first, and as I did, I heard a ripping sound of a fart, followed by howls of laughter with him teasing me. It was a prank. There was a fart machine that was loud enough for everyone to hear it. At first, I was in shock, then in denial, and was completely stunned with tears that I was trying to hold back. The event ended soon after with reception scheduled for tomorrow night. I invested so much emotionally and materially into making our wedding perfect, as my husband decided to give me lead on things as he's not a great planner. The perfect dress, the perfect makeup, venue, flowers, etc. Only for me to be mocked at and humiliated. I am currently at my own apartment and have refused to speak to my husband and contemplating an annulment. He says it was just a prank and has been begging me to come back. He also said he would make it up to me and help me get over it. In the slight chance it is, can someone convince me otherwise? We have way too much history together.
Should I tell my next door neighbour that her baby daddy is cheating on her? Story time. I need your advice here as to whether to be a girl's girl or keep my mouth shut and stay out of the situation. So my next door neighbour is a little bit of an enigma. We very, very rarely see them. And every now and again, we'll hear the door slam, we'll hear like little chit-chattering, we'll hear like a baby crying. It took about a year to work out what the dynamic of this flat was. So one night, I think it might have been a Saturday night, we heard next door's door shut. Me and my Steve are just chilling, and then all of a sudden, we hear noises. Then this one night, all hell breaks loose. Oh, that's warm. We hear the downstairs door slam, and then we hear this marching come up the stairs. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm such a nosy Parker. If anyone in this building is having an argument, I am listening to it. She is saying stuff like, if you're seeing someone, you can just tell me. Like, all I asked is that you're honest. And it's at this moment we start to realise that the girl that had been round the other day was not the girl that lives there. You should have seen mine and Steve's face. We were shooketh. This probably started at like 6 o'clock at night, and at 2 a.m. they were still going. She's saying stuff like, I've paid for you to be here, I've given you everything financially. And meanwhile, this guy is just deny. He is saying nothing. Meanwhile, I'm sat here like, he was seeing someone the other night. It was making my blood boil, to be fair. I was like, just tell the truth, man, just tell the truth. So this happened, I'm talking weeks ago now, and from what I can tell, she pays for literally everything. She does the rent, she does the car, she does the food, she does everything. So this guy is literally living rent-free, sponging off this girl, and I'm pretty sure that they aren't together, but they do have a child together. She's giving this guy a life, and he is taking girls back. Listen, if she's providing him with such a lovely flat and lovely life, then I feel like she kind of deserves to have some sort of idea of what he's doing. Again, if they're not together, technically they're both single. Literally everything in me wants to tell this girl what he is up to, but I also don't know if I'm just getting involved and putting my nose in where it's not necessary. This blusher from Charlotte Tilbury. So what would you do in this situation? I've thought about just telling her in passing in the corridor, but like I said, this all went down literally months ago. So what do you think?
My wife and I have 4 boys, 17, 15, 13, and 10. We lost our 15-year-old in an accident last October, and grieving has truly been a process. My wife and I have very different styles of grieving. I really like to talk about my son and what happened to him, but she wants to process things by herself and doesn't want to talk about it. We still have a very close marriage. We just talk about everything other than our son. My wife was out with her friends today, and when she got home a few hours ago, she asked me where the boys were. I told her oldest is with a friend, 13-year-old is out in the yard, 10-year-old is in the basement, and 15-year-old should be right where we left him. Immediately, she said I was effed up for saying that. I told her that I cope with humor, and clearly, she doesn't. I respect what she does, but she's got to respect what I do. She called me an effing pig for joking about our son like that, and she said that she was taking the boys out to dinner. While they were out, she texted me to say how she's really horrified with how callous I am about our son's death, saying how she was genuinely concerned I might be a sociopath. When she got home, she went straight to bed. I tried to sit with her, and she told me not to touch her. Our oldest asked me why their mom was in such a bad mood, and when I told him, he laughed at the joke. I think my wife is being extremely sensitive about this, but I can also understand this might be a time and place situation. Still, I think place should be my own home. So, am I in the wrong for telling a morbid joke about my son? Am I in the wrong for not making child-inclusive plans that someone in my friend group can attend? I have a group of 6 friends and their significant others from high school. All of us are in our mid-20s. The only person in our friend group is Jessica, who has 2 young children and is a single mom. I'm the only person in my friend group that can host, as my husband and I own a decent-sized house and I don't have anything stopping us from hosting, I guess. 1 doesn't want to host, 2 live with their parents and can't, another has roommates that won't let them, etc. We all live in a rural area, so there isn't really anywhere to go for more than a quick dinner, so someone hosting is the only way that we can all hang out really. When I host, it's always later in the day, around 7 p.m.-ish. That's when most of us are off work. I also have a no children rule for my house, since my dog is afraid of children and I honestly don't like kids anyways. My nephew yanked my dog's tail several times, so now my dog growls at kids. I had a gathering last weekend, a dinner time barbecue. Everyone was invited, same rules as norm. Jessica asked if she could bring her kids because she can't afford a babysitter since both of their dads aren't involved at all. I said no, because of my dogs and also because I don't want a baby and toddler at my house. The last time she brought them, she kept trying to push them off on other people who didn't want to hold them so she could relax. Also, her toddler puked on my $5K white couch, which I had to replace. No, she didn't pay for it. Jessica blew up on me in the group chat and said that I always exclude her. I told her that I'm not excluding her, I'm excluding kids. All kids. She's welcome to come if she can find someone to watch her kids. I also told her that she's welcome to host. She kind of went on about how all that's impossible and now she isn't talking to anyone. Our friend group is split. Half of them think it's my house's rules. 1 said that maybe if she screwed better guys, she'd be able to have a babysitter. And 2 think that I should just let her kids come. To be honest, if it was someone else, I would have maybe caved. But I don't like Jessica that much, especially since she didn't pay for my replacement couch. So, am I in the wrong here? Am I in the wrong for retiring and moving to South America like every single person in my family knew that I planned to do since I was 16? I, male 55, just pulled the pin on my retirement. I put in 33 years of work and I'm done. I bought property in South America 12 years ago and I've been building our retirement home down there. I have dual citizenship so I can own property without it being a hassle. The house was designed to be perfect for us. A small house for the caretaker and gardener and 34 different fruit trees. The bathroom is up to North American standards and the shower has grab bars and stuff already built in for when I'm old. Everything's on 1 level so there's no stairs. My wife helped by making suggestions to the design of the house and by taking care of decorating it. We've been vacationing there for 8 years now and renting it out when we aren't there for some extra money. We have hosted friends and family there both with us and on their own. My wife has now decided that she doesn't want to live there for 7 months of the year. We have grandkids now and she wants to be more involved with their lives. I love my kids and grandkids and my parents who also live up here, but I am done with winter. If I never see snow again, it'll be too soon. The house has guest rooms and flights are cheap. If they want to see me in the winter, they're welcome to come down. Plus, I'll be back in 5 months for the summer to do some contract work. My wife said that she didn't want to go down there this winter, and that's absolutely her right. I booked my flight for September and she asked me about the expense on the credit card. I said I was leaving for the winter like I had told everyone that I was planning to do. This is when she said that she didn't want to go this winter. Actually meant she didn't want us to go this winter. I said I was going and that I would see her in the spring unless she changed her mind and came down. Now her, my parents, and my kids are bugging me about leaving her alone for the winter, but it's 100% her choice. So, am I in the wrong? I, 46 female, have a daughter, 17 female in senior year, who has become so lazy in the past 5 months. Has only been going to school and coming back and sleeping. I was worried about her grades recently, so I called her teacher and she informed me that she was still ahead in all of her classes, though she had other concerns. Her teacher has told me that she was worried about her as she is completely changed and doesn't speak now. Walks in and out of class whilst avoiding her friends. Even though her friends stayed with her, she would just ignore them completely. She used to be talkative, friendly at school, and would always hang out with the same people. Her best friend that she's known for 8 years has been trying to reach her alongside her other friends, and she arrived at my door a couple of days ago, asking if she could see her, and my daughter would always be asleep or say she isn't in the mood. I spoke with my daughter to see if they did, and she just said they haven't done anything and she just can't stand anyone anymore. From doing nothing but sleeping, she has become so frail. Though after nearly 4 months into the semester, I have told her repeatedly that she will not be anything in life if she carries on this way. She would just ignore me or lock her room so I can't come in, or if she's annoyed, she will start arguing with me. On Sunday, I went to work, though before I put her basket of newly washed clothes outside of her room and told her to fold it so that she can put it in her wardrobe, and I told her that it better be done before I arrive. She gave a faint, okay. I came back a couple hours later to find the basket in the same spot unfolded. I knocked for minutes on end and she just told me to stop. I don't know what came over me, but I got the crowbar from the back and started to take off her lock. After completely denting it, the side facing me came off after a couple tries and I twisted the bolt. I brought her basket in after finding her standing up behind the door. I proceeded to yell at her and she starts crying, which she hasn't done for a while. We start yelling and saying hurtful things to each other for a while, and after her calling me a monster and failure of a mom, I told her that I would have never had you if you turned out this way. She was clearly taken aback by it, though in the moment it was the truth. All she does is nothing. She just walked out of the house for a couple hours doing God knows what, though she's been acting completely different since Sunday. She would listen to me and actually leave the house. Every time I came into her room, she would be writing a manuscript. Though it all feels wrong and inauthentic, she seems to have been upset by it deeply. Maybe it's good, as she is now being how I want her to be, though I understand how that could be misconstrued. I can tell that she's trying hard to avoid me, though is still being really friendly. So, am I in the wrong for telling my daughter that I would never have had you if you turned out this way? I have an autistic 14-year-old daughter who has terrible hygiene. I have to fight with her to get her to shower, brush her teeth, and clean up after herself during her period. It is disgusting. Blood everywhere and the constant washing of her underwear. She sees no problem with her inability to clean herself up. I told her that people are going to bully her in school if she smells that bad and that it's hard to recover from that socially, and she ignored me. Well, she had her period last week. I picked her clothing and allowed her to wear white pants. I wanted to see if she would clean up after herself so that the pants would be clean when she came back home. Before I could even drop her off, the pants were red. I stayed silent. I dropped her off like normal. She needed to learn how these types of situations will impact her social life if she continues to live like a slob. She came home in tears. The kids were ruthless. She was mocked for her strong smell and the red on her pants. It hurt me to see her like this, but I was not seeing the changes that had to be made. For the rest of the week, she took good care of herself. There were no stains, she showered herself, and would spray perfume to maintain a flowery scent. My husband and I fought about this though. He called me some very hurtful words because of my choice. He said I handled it poorly and that she'll probably be paying for this for the rest of the school year. However, I see it as a life lesson, and it actually yields results unlike my husband's soft approach. So, am I in the wrong for setting up my daughter to be bullied in school?